The Detroit Lions did not wait long to clap back at the Kansas City Chiefs after the Sunday night game left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. Striking a symbolic blow to the Chiefs practice squad, Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes poached a defensive back. And I'm going to tell you why this player is more than just a depth signing right now.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again.
All right, you guys know the drill, man. Please help us out and let's fly way over 11K, over 600 subscribers in the last 24 hours. You guys are amazing. I super appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Rockhound Detroit Lions is the place to be, and I'm your host, Will Rock, and so we're going to be talking about the latest move to the Detroit Lions secondary. Or is it a third dairy or a fourth dairy? It's not looking good, and I'm making up words that don't even make sense. But hey, let's get into this, man. Jamie Robinson, the Lions just poached him off of the Kansas City Chiefs practice squad. And like I said, this is more than just a depth signing for the Detroit Lions. This player has history with Brad Holmes and the Lions back in 2023. So I'm going to give you a little bit of his college resume in this video. We're going to talk a little bit about how he fits with the Detroit Lions and get everything lined up with the latest roster moves, even today, what transpired for him and others that were just released from the roster in just about a half hour ago. A few moves were just made. So college resume for Jamie Robinson. This guy carved out a major reputation in the SEC and the ACC as one of college football's most physical and instinctive defensive backs. After 2 seasons at South Carolina, he then transferred to Florida State, where he became the heartbeat of the Seminoles secondary. He had career tackles of 319, 15 and a half tackles for loss, 16 passes defensed, 7 interceptions, and 3 forced fumbles with 1 sack. That's a pretty active college career. A couple accolades to go with it. 2-time first team All-ACC in 2021 and 2022. His calling card is physical, compact at 5'11", 200 pounds. He's quick-footed. He's fearless. He's a box safety, or whether he's in the slot, this guy's going to get after you. The scouts, the NFL scouts, saw him as a very versatile defender with slippery hips, toughness, and a motor that never shuts off. Even if he lacked ideal measurables, man, this guy, I mean, he was going to play bigger than what he is, right? The bark was way bigger than the bite, I should say. Or does it go the other way around? The bite was bigger than the bark? I don't know. The dude's a dog. I love the film that I watched on him today. His very compact 200-pound frame is mixed with some very twitchy footwork. It made him a natural fit for the nickel and the safety roles. So both, the scouts in college, obviously in the NFL, praised his toughness despite lacking that prototypical size or length at that position. Typically, you want to see your safeties a little bit bigger, 6'1", 205, maybe 210, kind of on the bigger end. But man, he played way bigger than what he is. And we've seen other players that size do very well. In the early part of the draft, Robinson, when he entered the 23 draft, he was regarded as a mid-round prospect. So mid-third round, latest into the 4th round. He flashed at the Senior Bowl. And of course, when he did that, he was then selected for a top 30 visit with the Detroit Lions and Brad Holmes. And the Lions really showed some strong pre-draft interest in Jamie Robinson. But come draft day, they ended up passing, and Carolina ended up scooping him up in the 5th round. So he slipped about a round and a half compared to where he was suspected to go or projected to go, number 145 overall. Still not a bad pickup, right? Over 2 seasons so far of his career, he's appeared in 21 games, 2 starts, mostly special teams, and spot duty at nickel and down in the box safety, where he's logged 75 defensive snaps. So great college career, has not totally translated to the NFL just yet, right? NFL stats, 20 tackles, 13 solo, and again, 75 defensive snaps. In 2023, he saw 15 games where he threw in 17 tackles, and in 2024, he saw 6 games and 3 tackles before being waived. Now, after Carolina moved on, Robinson had a brief stint with the Arizona Cardinals, and then he landed on the Kansas City Chiefs practice squad in 2025. And that's where Brad Holmes and the Detroit Lions came a-calling to take him back to Detroit, where he probably belonged in the first place. Having that pre-draft visit is everything for Brad Holmes. If you look at the way that Brad Holmes moves and how he operates, almost every single free agent that the Lions have brought in since 2021, Brad Holmes has met with, either when he was with the Rams or while he's been in Detroit. Pretty much every connected player that has entered the Detroit Lions roster is a former meeting, pre-draft visit, combine visit, something, right? And I love that about Brad Holmes, because that means not only does he trust in the work that he puts in and the scouts put in, but they've already developed a little bit of chemistry with these players because they think that they understand them and they know them from the meetings that they have with these guys. So knowing that they're going to fit right into the room obviously is the biggest thing for the culture in Detroit. So Lions doing a little bit of regrouping right now ahead of Tampa Bay. Obviously, Robinson's, just a 5th round pick. I don't care where he's drafted at all. I mean, he has a reputation for toughness and versatility. And now that he's arriving in Allen Park, he's going to have a chance to help stabilize the special teams unit and honestly provide a much needed coverage depth for the Lions secondary to regroup, into the bye week, where we desperately need the bye week right now to get some guys healthy. His role and fit on this team, he's not being asked to step in as a savior, right? He's hardly played in the NFL, but his skill set, it really helps address an immediate need. Robinson isn't going to be a long-term fix. Maybe he will be. We'll see how he plays. I see him more of a stabilizer right now, just coming in, helping get the Lions reorganized, regroup, make sure that we have some depth and a key fit into special teams. Now, on the special teams core, his role has seen 366 career snaps on special teams. He can contribute instantly into the coverage units, and that's exactly where I expect him to be this weekend. And then down in the nickel or in the box depth on the roster, he's got plenty of experience in college. Obviously, at the NFL level, he has a few reps in the slot and near the line of scrimmage. Now, given the flexibility that the Lions have in sub packages, we could see him thrown out there at times, depending on who's going up for the game this weekend. If Kirby's not in, that's a problem. So that means that you could see Robinson in this weekend. I'd have to say that this is probably the best opportunity right now, seeing how Tampa Bay is so beat up in their wide receiver room, but I still don't like Baker Mayfield throwing the football downfield. He's a hell of a quarterback. Tackling and edge help for Robinson. Look, he's a physical tone setter. This guy is exactly what you would expect out of a run defense first type of culture in Detroit, right? He's got great energy. He has great physicality against the run, and that's what Dan Campbell expects out of all of his corners and safeties is run first mentality. In short, Robinson he's a plug and play depth piece who can stabilize special teams and provide insurance on the backside at safety and in the nickel slot while the Lions weather all of the injuries and the suspension now that they're dealing with Brian Branch. Probably won't start. Again, it depends on what happens with Kirby Joseph. I still wouldn't see him starting. We have some guys that I believe are over top of him right now, but he might save a drive. You know what I mean? He might save a game. You never know. He could get in and make a couple of plays. Now, why the Lions made the move? I think it's pretty simple to understand. We're kind of up against it. This wasn't a luxury signing. It's more of survival to me. Brian Branch suspended. Kirby Joseph has a knee injury. And our cornerback depth has just been ravaged by injuries and IR stints, leaving our secondary just dangerously thin right now. Dangerously thin. Obviously, Robinson offered 3 things that Detroit needed in a hurry: experience, versatility, and special teams production. and prior connection with Brad Holmes and the Detroit Lions front office obviously made him an ideal candidate and an emergency addition this week. So our secondary is obviously in flux right now. The front office has been scrambling like crazy, trying to patchwork this defensive backfield up. And since the start of October, you will believe, because you've seen it, you've heard it, right? That we've brought in or brought up like 6 guys, right? Jamie Robinson today signed to the active roster today in the latest roster moves. Kendall Fuller, so he went right from Kansas City to practice squad to active roster on the 53 today. Kendall Fuller added to the practice squad on October 14th, and I'm not sure if he's already on the active. I don't remember. I slept once or twice. Eric Hallett, he was promoted on October 11. Nick Whiteside, he was promoted on October 11. Also brought back, right? Arthur Mollett, he was signed on October 8, brought up. And then Trey Flowers signed October 1 and brought up. So we've got 6 new bodies now in this defensive secondary. It's just been a rotating door of injuries and suspension just piling up, man. It's like a winter car crash, you know, and I hate that winter's even around the corner right now. But this flurry of moves, it just really underscores how depleted the Lions secondary has become, and with both the safeties and the corners just dropping out of the lineup like flies. Good signing, good pickup. Bottom line, Detroit secondary is really being held together right now with duct tape. You know, maybe a little bit of Elmer's glue in there. With playoff positioning, honestly, already on the line, going up against an NFC opponent. I mean, rubber's hitting the road right now. We have to win these games. Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, they need some glue guys. We need some Gorilla Glue guys, right? Not this Elmer's glue stuff. We need some guys that can stick. We need some guys that can stick to the wide receivers and play smart, right? Be physical, ready to play, and provide depth. Detroit gets a good player, I think, that once was considered during the draft process by Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, and now he's arriving kind of at this moment when his versatility and toughness could really provide some invaluable depth for the team. Not every single signing is going to make headlines, right? We know that about Brad Holmes. Some just kind of keep your season alive, and I think that's what Robinson really brings right now. He's kind of that signing to fly under the radar. I think a lot of fans were excited about Kendall Fuller, as am I. I think he's got great veteran experience, big injury concerns, but great veteran experience. Now, let me give you the up-to-date minutes here on roster moves. The Lions released a preseason favorite today, defensive lineman Keith Cooper. I was a little bit shocked by the move, but he hasn't had any playtime yet. Thankfully, we haven't needed him yet, and I expect him to come back. Same thing I said about Lauren Strickland the other day. When the Lions let him go, I expected him to come back, and today they signed him back to the practice squad. I'm a little bit miffed here because Strickland has played pretty decent at times. Why was he let go to come back, and why was the new guy promoted over Strickland, right? That unless they're really trying to save Strickland for later in the season, this one didn't make much sense to me. And then you have Robinson, obviously, that, was added to the active roster today. So those are your 3 moves, your 3 roster moves, plus the latest signing in Jamie Robinson. So do me a favor, now that you made it to the end of the video, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share it with a friend. Appreciate it. And hey, man, let's go Lions. Let's go get this win against Tampa on Monday night. I'll see you guys there. You guys have a wonderful day. Go One Pride. Go Detroit. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Pressured by Hutchinson.